Well, that was the intro. Let's play it one more time in case you didn't see it. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Tony, my beautiful wife. She put that together, and hey, might be a little bit. It might be loud enough to wake up the neighborhood if you got your speakers cranked, and you definitely enough. My blood's pumping, and I'm ready to go. How are you, David?
I'm just getting up. I woke up, I looked at the time, I'm like, oh no, because I thought I totally missed it.
Yeah, we were.
So,
I was contemplating doing a couple different things, and I said, you know what? It's gonna have to be 9. And so 9 is the time, guys. I am trying to go a little earlier, but for this period of time, for this show, it's gonna be 9. Just keep the notifications on because sometimes if I go a little earlier, we can go a little longer. Um, that's what she said. But hey, good morning, everybody. So today's topics, it's the Cardinals. So I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool to talk a little bit about like the history of the Cardinals, the Niners, the times that we played them, our matchups, and just anything in particular. So we have another friend coming into the show. I'm gonna bring him in real quick. Good morning, Terradome.
Hey, fellas. Hey, fellas,
All
what's going
right.
on? All right.
A
What it
whole
is, what it is.
so we got No Border Sports in the chat. Thank you, Ryan. We got Bebop coming in. The Sentinel Football channel. If you guys are not subscribed, please go subscribe. He's got a great channel. He does a lot of different things. And we have our favorite Cardinal, always
Hey.
Arizona Sports TRL. If you are not subscribed, please go subscribe to TRL. Guys, if you want to put your links in the description so we can get other people to them as well. If you want to throw your link in the description, it'll be easy for people to come in and out and check you out. So today's Cardinal week. And if you guys know anything about the Cardinals, they are the oldest franchise in the NFL, and they have moved quite a bit. They have moved quite a bit, and they have had some different cities, different locations that they've been at, and they've moved divisions as well. They used to be in, what was it, the East? Was it the NFC East that they were in? They used to play the Cowboys all the time, and it is what it is. So now the leagues have changed. Back in 2003, we had a new construction of the divisions, and the Seahawks moved from the AFC West over, and the Cardinals came to the NFC West. They were already in the NFC, but hey, we'll take it. So we lost we lost the Saints, we lost the Panthers, and we lost the Falcons. They went on to go into their own division. And right now, this week, we're playing the Cardinals. So the Cardinals record, we played them a bunch of times, guys. And let's throw it down here at the bottom. Our first time we played them was November 18th, 1951 in Kezar Stadium. Chicago won. Who? Chicago. Again, the Cardinals wasn't always in the desert. They weren't always in Chicago either. They left Chicago for St. Louis, and then I guess that wasn't south enough for them, so they decided to move to Phoenix. Now they're in Glensdale, but they are now known as the Arizona Cardinals. The all-time series, we'll throw this here in the bottom. The all-time series is the 49ers 34, Cardinals 29. The longest winning streak that the 49ers have had against the Cardinals is 5 games. We've done that multiple times. The longest winning streak that the Cardinals have had is 8 games, and they have done that recently, where they put it on us for a little while, and it was not easy. It was not easy to overcome that. Everybody in the NFC West plays each other very tightly. It's always a hard contested game. It doesn't matter if it's the Rams playing the Seahawks or the Cardinals playing the 49ers, or you can mix any combination in there. We play each other twice, and every one of us has been to the Super Bowl. Every one of us has won. Well, no, every one of us has lost. So we all have that heartbreak, but we all seem to put up a decent team and a decent matchup against each other. So there's been a couple of players that's went back and forth, and we could go through the whole list if you guys want to. It doesn't seem like there's that many, but just skimming through it really quickly. So we'll skip over some names. But if you go back to Aldick, Dan Aldick, he was an offensive tackle from Hawaii. Anton Bethea, Anquan Bolden, Alex Boone, Michael Brandon or Brandon Michael, I don't know, Tremaine Brock, Ray Brown. Keep going through. Tim Kohler, Chris Cooper, Michael Crabtree. Yep. Phil Dawson, Blaine Gabbert. There's a lot of Cardinals. I'm just trying to pop off the ones we might know. Household name. Garrison Hurst.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I see somebody named Bryant, I got to shout him out. Bryant Johnson. Randy Kirk. Andy Lee. Colt McCoy. What's your guys' thoughts on Colt McCoy? Tell you what, guy can.
He came back and hurt us one time, I remember, recently.
I didn't know this one. Tim Rattay. Tim Rattay is a Cardinal and a 49er. Josh Rosen.
I remember.
Trent Sherfield.
Oh yeah.
Again, I'm not saying everyone's name. I'm just saying a couple of the big names, the big hitters. Chad Stanley. Joe Walker. So we've had some players that have went back and forth, and sometimes you don't see that so often because you don't want a player to go to your opponent, especially like your little brother. They know your secrets and they know all that good stuff, right? Yeah. So bring in another good friend real quick.
Oh.
Hey, twin, how you doing?
What's up, twin?
See, my green screen ain't big enough.
Almost.
Can you make me a little smaller, my boy BC, or do I got to switch it up?
I'm not sure how I could do that.
All right, let me
see if I can do that.
What's up, though? Good morning,
solo layout.
Good morning to you.
No. Yeah, you can come back in. I'm not sure how.
For sure. I'll be back.
So we're playing the Cardinals, and they have. Sounds like a plan. So what's your guys' thoughts of the Cardinals? Because at this point in time, I think they're a lot better of a team than they want people to know. I think they're a team that's going to put up, and they're going to take you to all the rounds. Through all the rounds, they're going to be standing when it rings, when that bell dings, and they are scary good. And people are, they're the Cardinals, they're tanking. Are they really tanking? Are they really tanking? When you put up 28 points against the Giants, right? And then for some reason, the Giants come back and win that game. But then you go ahead and you beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are supposed to be the Super Bowl winners, right? They're supposed to be, they already got the trophy in their hand. So when you do that, are you really tanking, or did you just show your hand? Because I think they're a lot better. I really, truly do. I think they might be strategically placing themselves in the draft so they can get, a decent pick. But at this point, I don't think they need a quarterback. I think they got their quarterback. And in fact, his jersey, if you want to buy his jersey now, it only took 3 weeks, but it's on the racks now. That's something to be said. When you believe in your quarterback, you put his jersey out there and you can sell. Yep.
Wow.
For the first 3 weeks, for the first
muscling the little man out, huh?
For the first 3 weeks, they didn't have his jersey on the rack. And that's kind of understandable. You know, Kyler Murray is supposed to be their franchise, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, he's not playing right now. So Dobbs is out there, and Dobbs was performing. Well, you know, that first week, they just turned their head. The second week, they turned their head. Well, here comes Dallas. And, you know, maybe that's what happened. You know, he got to put the hat on because he beat Dallas, right? You know, everybody gets a jersey now. So it's, you know, jersey sales. That's something for the players. That's something for the team. That helps everybody. So I don't see Kyler Murray sticking around with the Arizona Cardinals much longer, especially if this guy goes off. If the Cardinals, you know, have a 500 record or just under 500, 8-9 or 9-8, I just don't see this happening, guys. I'm not going to say, you know, they are a trap game because we know who they are. We know who they are. We really truly do. They play us tight every year.
Yeah.
And when they don't play us tight, that's a rarity. We don't always blow them out, and they don't always blow us out. So let's throw it to Teardown. We'll go to David, and we'll give it up there to Darwin. We'll talk Niners and Cardinals, and then we'll go to Levi before the end of the show, and throughout we'll talk about your upcoming matchup real quick. Who are the Ravens playing? I believe it's the Browns, if I'm correct.
Yeah, we've got the #1 defense in the NFL this week, the Browns. Fun fact about the Browns in their 2 home games so far, they have not allowed a single touchdown at home so far this season. That's pretty difficult. And the Ravens are coming into that matchup with tons of injuries. So
it's only the third game going on for. I mean, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
big matchup in that one. Myles Garrett versus the backup left tackle Patrick McCary.
And he's hungry this year. I actually had them circled. You know, when we look at the teams and we were going to say what our record was going to be prognosticating, I circle those Cleveland Browns. I got something a little going on with them. They got some ball players up there, and they're going to be a little something to play with. Of course, that was before the injury to Nick Chubb. But his backup is looking pretty serious as well. As far as the Cardinals go, you know how it's going to go, man. It's always a slog with them some kind of way. We could be having a year of years and just having to deal with those Cardinals. It's like they just the term is pesky. They just pesky. They always so pesky.
Mm-hmm.
They'll jump up and just be something. And you're like, what y'all not going anywhere, but against us, you know, they Shangri-La, they giving you the big heave-ho and you get their maximum effort and they prepare for us. They look at us as a premier franchise as well as the leaders of the conference. So, you know, they're measuring themselves up against us. That being said, I did a lot of, you know, looking at their film against the Giants and looking at the film against the Cowboys. And I think there are going to be some opportunities. Now, although Josh Dobbs is having a lot of success, he's a one-stare quarterback. He looks where he's going to throw. And with our, you know, speed on defense and the way we get after people, I think that's going to really play into our hands. On the other side of their defense, they got a pretty good active linebacker, new linebacker. I think it was Kaiser or something. He looks like he's flying around a little bit, and they got a corner. They look like rookies. They're kind of smallish, and but they will come up and make plays. They don't have Patrick Peterson there anymore, and some of the names and faces that we usually see aren't there. But they brought a new regime in, and Dallas know him now.
Yeah, big thing to be watching in that game. Looking at the injury report, Paris Johnson Jr., the first round left tackle out of Ohio State, selected by the Cardinals, is going to be questionable for that game. And if he's not there, Bosa gonna have a field day.
Yeah. He's got. We were looking at him to get him. We needed right tackle help, and he actually played left tackle. The other tackle on Ohio State I like very much, and we could have gotten the third round,
Daywan Jones, who's playing in Cleveland.
He's up in Cleveland, and that's why I kind of looked at Cleveland like, yeah, they're gonna give you some trouble. Whenever a franchise is getting ball players that you like or have been on your team, they know what they're looking for, and they picked up 2 of ours on waivers, Manning, as well as who was the other one? Was it? There's a defensive back there. I think it was Quantrez Knight or something.
I've heard Manning before too. I think he might have spent some time on one of our practice squads.
He's good.
Manning. What's your thoughts, man? Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Manning was one of our undrafted free agents. He was with us during the preseason, and he actually looked really good. We thought there was a good possibility he'd make the 53, but then they put him on waivers, and the Cardinals said, "Yep, we'll take him."
Yeah.
What do y'all? Let me ask a little off topic. What do
y'all? What's your thoughts?
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know what to do.
I was just going to say, Twin.
I'm in the Matrix. I don't know.
Twin, what's your thoughts on Dobbs, man?
Is it Brian? I don't know. Where did I go? Left, right? No,
the red pill.
What's your thoughts on Dobbs?
What's my thoughts on Dobbs? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Is he like the franchise quarterback? Is he going to come out of the desert? You know, what's happening with him? Is he just going to be their camp arm for this year?
I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I think I'm a little bit more reserved when it comes to making a big conclusion about a person after several games. In my opinion, I believe he has to play some more. I don't think within 2 or 3 games you automatically say, "Hey, this is your guy." Even though he may have came off a victory against the Cowboys, they had a bevy of injuries on the offensive line. They lost one of their key guys who, if you look at PFF stats and other things around the league, he was the top corner in the National Football League, not only this year, but even over the last several years. The guy has been locked down, shut down, and he's ready to take it down to the end zone. So I do believe there was a morale kind of like just not booster, but like down. You know what I'm saying? Because they lost their key guys. Similarly, if we were to lose one of our guys like a Nick Bosa, you know what I mean? We will be hurt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and act as if him leaving didn't affect that team. I think they played against a team they didn't have a lot of film on as well. They got a new coach. They bring in a new system. So you don't have a lot of information to go back on and kind of assess what they're going to do as far as tendencies is concerned. And so I don't think he's the quote unquote like franchise guy, but I do believe he's somebody who you can be competitive with. And that's what you want to do as an organization and as a franchise. You want to compete. And I will give them that. They play hard. So us going up there to Arizona, I mean, they're coming to play against us. I just want us to just be disciplined. I know we won these last couple games, and I know I'm kind of like the nitpicker, but I believe our penalties have been too bad. Like for a team like us, we've been too heavily penalized. So you don't want to give a team like that, Arizona, any easy plays offensively and defensively. We don't want to make no dumb decisions as well. So as long as we can kind of do what we need to do and just play our ball talent-wise, we should be able to kind of, by the time the third quarter come, overall, it's just like when we see the college game, sooner or later your talent will just outweigh these guys, and we'll probably just, at the end, third, fourth quarter, just begin to wear on them, and the depth that we do have will just succumb to whatever the little bitty things they have out there in Arizona, and we'll just get the victory. So I don't believe Dobbs will be their franchise quarterback, but at the same time, I think he's entertaining, and he's a good story.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think he's playing a little bit better than they expect, and maybe he's not their franchise or their future, but I don't see Kyler being there much longer. So, okay, Levi, go ahead. You had some questions you wanted to ask?
Oh, man, I don't even remember. That's off topic, so I don't know. I'm not going to go there. Let's talk about Josh Dobbs, though. Drafted out of Pittsburgh, ended up in Tennessee. Dude, man, has never had more than 5 games in his NFL career. And I don't see this production out of Josh Dobbs repeating. Even going back to his college career, he's a University of Tennessee guy. Basically didn't really start till his junior year, where he put up pretty decent numbers. Looked like he had potential for growth. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions with 127 quarterback rating. However, his senior year, he pushed his yards and touchdowns up, but he more than doubled his interception ratio. So more of like a game manager type of quarterback. So I just don't see it. It's always you always got to be careful in the NFL because every team's here for a reason.
Oh yeah,
there's no gimme.
Because Juwan Jennings too, that was his quarterback for a year in Tennessee.
Yep.
Juwan
He had 1 year
Jennings.
after Tennessee or after Pittsburgh. He went to Tennessee and then to Arizona.
Yeah. That their new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, he's got him doing some read option, and he knows how to read. He's looking at the hips of the edge rusher. He's giving it when there's pause. He's looking at his hips turn, and as soon as they turn, pause, he's out the gate. He'll scoot right on by you. It's not a instinctive thing for that quarterback to hold that ball, ride him in, pause, and and come off that edge like that. Some people don't have it. I think I've seen him do it a number of times. I think he had about 55 rushing yards last week.
Yeah, by the way, No Border Sports says Cardinals won't feed your family either. One of the worst organizations in football, according to the voting by the NFL Player Association.
Yeah. Historically.
Yeah.
I don't know what he means by Ravens don't have meat.
Some organizations can do more. And sometimes, organizations, they maybe choose not to do more. And I think that's something that you have to kind of look at your own, team. Not everybody here is a Niner fan and people watching, but when you look at the Niners and you go back to Eddie D, he took care of his guys. And there's other organizations that do that. There's agreements made to the side. There's new cars, purchased for people and no one knows about it. Your mom got a house, your cousin got a house, but your owner took care of you, right? So like not every team has that. And some of the smaller franchises that maybe the lower market teams, maybe they don't have that, but I don't think that's an excuse. These are $1 billion owners. These are $1 billion franchises, companies. So, but remember we were talking just a minute ago, it was talking about how what's that?
I was going to say, I had a story for when I was the charter coordinator for the University of Arkansas. They are so particular about some of this stuff, guys. We once accidentally switched the regular Gatorade for the low-calorie Gatorade, the Gatorade Zero. We got chewed out by the unit. It was either Auburn or Tennessee, I think. They chewed us out to the point like we were worried about our contract with the team because that small difference in calories is already part of their calculations by all their team nutritionists. Like,
wow.
So I think some college teams take better care of their players than the Arizona Cardinals do.
Wow.
For sure. I think college should stay there though.
So you think he should stay there?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him go play baseball.
No, I don't think they'll have the number one draft pick. And I think he's let's be real. Now we've been on the other side of Kyler doing some magical things against us, and I don't think he's a bad quarterback. Even when he got hurt, I think they started off 7-0 one year. We played against them. Like he has done good things. He hasn't been just a trash quarterback. You know what I mean? And to have what many people would say a head coach who was kind of deficient in what it is that he did with old boy. I forgot his name right now, but he wasn't really that good in college as far as a coach. And then he came into the NFL and got a head coach position. And you got somebody like Kyler Murray who showed all the talent in the world, not only throwing the ball, but then also his ability to run. And I would just want to give up on him because you don't have a lot of other players that you are paying. And so you can kind of utilize that draft pick to kind of get some guys around him, continue to stifle your defense with the defensive-minded coach that you do have. And I don't think Kyler Murray is a bust of a quarterback and somebody you should get rid of so soon.
Yeah, what was that coach? Was it Cliffbury?
Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Living in his multi-million-dollar mansion.
It looks sweet. It
was nice, talent. It frustrates me. But of course, we know he's got dedication problems, time management problems with, at home playing Call of Duty instead of watching film supposedly and stuff like that. And that's so frustrating because, like I said, he's not a bad quarterback. He's so talented
Oh yeah.
that even when he doesn't do that, he can still go out there and ball out sometimes. Now in college, you can get away with that. I think the young man came into a bad organization. He might have checked out even more because of that. And I think, just like we saw Jared Goff get his revitalization in Detroit, we saw Geno Smith get his revitalization in Seattle. I think Kyle just needs to go to a better organization. Dude, I wouldn't mind seeing him with Bill Belichick. I wouldn't mind seeing him back up Goff and be, eventually maybe Goff's replacement in a few years. Like, I think he just needs a better place. And, we saw what, in college, he put up the numbers, and he played good competition. So
in high school, he's a legend in Texas high school.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah. He can play now. He can play and talent. The man could stop right now and go and play for the, Oakland A's if they stay there long, or San Francisco Giants. Somebody would pick him up. He's good. He's
I don't
where
think
did
they
he?
order-
Lincoln Riley was his coach in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He wants Lincoln Riley to come to NFL's what, but he ain't leaving that job.
Nah, that's good. His bread is buttered there, though.
We'll see that. We'll see tonight. Yeah, when he's throwing that thing's getting thrown to Brandon Rice, son of Jerry Rice. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be.
They
big.
already playing, I think, right?
No. I think it's tonight.
USC.
Yeah, USC in
They're
Colorado.
playing right now.
Oh,
It's on
guys,
already.
Yeah,
I
they
used to
already
live
scored.
right beside the University of Colorado
they're
when I
playing
lived
right
in
now.
Colorado. I'm so mad. I moved right away. It's right
It's-
after they hired Dion.
Yeah, it's 7-0.
Oh,
Who,
it's
USC?
Yeah, USC is winning 7-0.
And speaking of
shit.
USC,
Hey.
a UCLA man just showed up.
Hey,
What's up, Dion?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this morning?
Doing good, brother.
Lost to the Colts.
doing good. Breaking
Injury
down the
bug.
Cardinal game, and we're going to talk a little bit about Levi's game here. Levi's a Raven. So in 2007, Alex Smith led the 49ers to a comeback win. And we'll just say it like that. It wasn't wins. It was a comeback win over the Cardinals. Out of the last 10 matchups from 2009 to 2013, we had Harbaugh and we had Kaepernick. We went 1-10. We won 1 of 10 matchups. 1 of 10. So they 9-1 against us. Now the biggest time that they have beat us in a row was 8 victories. But during that time, the Cardinals had our number. So I think the times have changed. I think we are a better team now. But the Cardinals are scary good, and the reason I'm saying that is they are taking these teams to the end of the finish line, and they are making you play a full, complete game. So let me throw it up there to David, and David, let me get your thoughts a little bit more about the Cardinals, and we're going to swing it around to everybody. How do you feel about the Arizona Cardinals, David?
They're pesky, man. That's just how the Cardinals always are. Remember, they had Colt McCoy starting. They weren't supposed to beat us.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, that's kind of hard to forget. But, when it comes to their QB situation, I don't know if their head coach is sold on Kyler Murray. I kind of think he is. Because Josh Dobbs, look at the quarterback he went and, acquired to play until Kyler's back. He's a scrambler, He can throw the ball around, and he's a scrambler. Same style as Kyler Murray. And, I mean, the guy has been on 5 NFL teams in 4 seasons. So, that kind of reminds me of, like, Raheem Mostert, He was all over the place getting cut, and then we picked him up, and all of a sudden it's like, look at this running back, But, yeah, he's just similar style to Kyler Murray, and he's just running the same offense that Kyler's going to run. But when it comes down to it, we will see what happens. I think they're gonna try to hang with us for as long as they can, but you're not hanging with us for the whole game. That's not happening.
Facts.
I agree. Let's throw it to Dion. Dion, you just got here. What's your thoughts on Carpet?
To be honest with you,
At one time, the Cardinals, if you guys didn't know, merged with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were known as Carpet.
didn't know that.
Carpet.
Facts,
No,
fun facts. So
I ain't
we're
know.
now the
I ain't know nothing about no
we are
card
now
pit. I ain't know nothing about no card pit. No
Card-
nothing.
card.
Look, this is the simple thing. The Cardinals are definitely a formidable team.
Yeah, later
I
go
can say
back,
that.
check the thumbnail. I put the different.
I was wondering what that was about.
Y'all good? Can y'all hear me?
Go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
Dion.
Oh, okay. Didn't know anything about this card pit
Yeah.
thing. That's brand new. That's new news to me. The funny thing, our current defensive coordinator, his only 2 wins as a head coach are against us. Anybody remember that? Like, that's literally what happened. Steve Wilkes beat us for his only 2 wins of his ever NFL head coaching career.
Wow, you're right. You're
Didn't
right.
remember
I
that,
forgot.
everybody.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
interim head coach.
He
for a
was.
hot-
He
hot
was.
minute. Yes,
He
sir.
was the head coach. No, he wasn't interim. That was a head coaching job. He had
He
gotten
only
that job.
he only had 1 year of the opportunity and got fired
Yeah.
quick.
So we all know how
Felt
Steve
like
Wilkes
an
got
interim.
done.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Steve Wilkes got screwed. You
Yeah.
said it in 1
And
year.
they gave it to Kingsbury.
Kingsbury. Yeah, they basically
Yeah.
went running to the shiny new toy and did Steve Wilkes greasy over here in Arizona where I'm
Word.
at.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, it's just honestly, it's a sad situation for black coaches in Arizona because they did Tony Dungy greasy too. They did him greasy at ASU, but that's another story for another day.
That's true. You seeing it
Mhm.
all out there. And they were the last. I know they were last to get Martin Luther King Day too. I know they held on to that as long as they could.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. The one thing that I can say about the Cardinals is they have one of our number 1 weaknesses over the years, stopping a mobile quarterback. Josh Dobbs is mobile. He does move around. He does do the things that you need. So we have to be very mindful of that. The nice thing is we have 2 physical freaks on the edge, and Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa. So we have some guys that can try to stick with him if he tries to get moving too much. So we have to make sure we limit his scrambling. When it comes to the run game, we got to limit James Conner. I definitely don't think they doing all that running like they did that last game all over us. That is not about to happen. Not with us. I know our run defense has, the up the gap. That's the middle. First of all, hold on. Let me address this real quick on the side note. Don't be talking about my uniforms, Ryan. Okay, you see how they still cold, baby. Don't I'm saying you got to respect us now. I'm talking about uniforms. Okay, now don't get me wrong. The coldest uniforms in all of football belong to Oregon. We all understand that. I don't know who their designer is, but they make that work.
Nike, man.
Phil Knight, man.
Nike's
Phil
headquarters
Knight.
is right outside their college campus,
Yes,
basically.
that is all night. Matter of fact, a little side note.
127 different combinations, I think, something like that.
Something like
Insane.
that, man. And look,
That's a recruiting tool.
A friend of mine went up there, and I said, "Y'all gonna love it, man. It's drink weather, and it's Nike town. How about they go to Nike headquarters, and her husband decides to wear an Adidas sweatsuit up in there? Do you know that security guard said, "Get that
Shots fired.
hell on out of here," and they wanted to take a picture in Nike? No, you won't. I said,
No
what was he
team.
thinking?
No team in college football keeps the energy of dress good, feel good, play good more than the Oregon Ducks.
Yes.
Hey, I can say this. I love me some Deion Sanders, but you might want to calm your players down because they talked a whole lot of crap before that game. And the crazy thing is what you saw, Oregon staff was ready for that. And they told
Did
them,
you
don't
see the
pay them
report
no
that
mind.
other teams had helped them?
Pay them no mind. Don't say anything. And the next thing you know, the Ducks went out there and put a beat down on them.
Hey man,
They got beat down just as bad as the Denver Broncos got beat down.
Well, Dion said it a long time. Oh, go ahead, Twin.
No, I'm just saying, I'll pick back up what you said. But when you got everybody in college football calling you like, hey, man, this is what they like to do. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. Hey, man, blah, blah, blah. And Deion is saying this. You got an Oregon team who is known as a powerful, Power 5 team. Deion said this team just won one game last year. So, like, at the end of the day, Deion said himself, give me about 2 years.
Okay, we're gonna be right.
That same minutes, because at the end of the day, Oregon still had won no bowl game. So y'all can talk all y'all want. It's not like y'all got a natty. You see what I'm saying? Deion said, I'm just getting here.
Yeah.
And Deion said this a while ago, too. He said, if you look at it, guys, the difference between wide receivers and corners on HBCU and D1, honestly, they both ball out. Where the real difference on these teams is the trenches. These D1s have 5-star recruits that are 300+ pounds that are just been riding the bench for 3 years.
Since the ninth grade, since the ninth grade.
But you can't teach that. You can't coach that. That's just pure genetic. Like I said, I played a little bit myself. Dude, I got bowled over by one of those left tackles. I hit him as hard as I could. I bounced off of him like a child.
I know, man.
My head coach like, what the hell, dude? I'm like, I ain't go back down, but.
So, let me wrap it back to the game. I'm so sorry about that,
yeah,
Brian.
Sorry, my bad.
I came in here and caused a little chaos, man. My bad, brother. But what I will say is, as far as the Cardinals, where I'm looking at them is from a defensive standpoint. Honestly, the offensive standpoint, there's nothing really that scares me. I'm not worried about James Conner. I ain't even worried about Hollywood Brown. Side note, there is an HBCU defensive back. We picking up all these DBs. There's a young man out there by the name of Al Young. If you ever watched Jackson State, that young man, if he was given the chance, mark my words, would be the next Richard Sherman. No lie. With more speed.
Al Woods?
Al Young.
Al Young, sorry.
Al Young from Jackson State. He played with
I like watching. Brian knows I like watching tape, so.
Yeah, he came out and he was a baller. But we've got a couple of little dudes that we don't know about. And it's the linebackers for the Cardinals that are doing most work. So you got Dennis Gardick, Victor Demuke. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know.
Yeah, Demakuje, it looks like.
Demakuje or something like that. I don't know. But Kaiser White. Those are the guys that are doing the things for them, that are making plays, that are making things happen. When you look at them, there aren't a ton of people on their defensive squad that are doing a lot, but it's those no-name dudes that you don't know about that you need to be worried about when it comes to the Cardinals. So that's where I'm looking. That's where the battle is for me. It's defensively. Offensively, all we have to do is make sure Josh Dobbs doesn't run all over us, and we can stop this squad, okay? There's no more D-Hop at all. So D-Hop is in Tennessee hanging out with Julio. They got like the greatest of the older receivers over there in Tennessee. So for me, the defensive standpoint is what I'm looking at, for the Cardinals. What will they do? We have to be very careful about that. As far as for us from an offensive standpoint, Brian is right. The Cardinals have had our number, and they always give us problems. What DeForest Buckner used to call Kyler Murray a little squirrel. He just run around back there all over the damn place. Now we have a bigger squirrel in Josh Dobbs because he's a lot taller. Although I'm sorry, but every time I look at the man, I just don't know what shade he is. Like, I don't know what to call him, team light skin or team clear. I don't know. He just, something about him just make me, I'm like, what? I don't know. Are you Ryan Shazier's cousin? Because y'all look alike to an extent. Just, just a little joke, but that's all I'm saying. I think offensively, we should be able to go out there. If the one thing that I can say in all sincerity, I'm going to call him 30-30. Purdy 30. Because when we score 30, we win. That's literally what we have done all year. We hit 30 points. You can call that game a dub. If you are a betting person and you see the 49ers with 30, at this point, it's a dub. You're gonna win. Bet it. Don't bet the over. Bet the under, because these teams seem to like to screw us on the last minute. Y'all see what happened.
Oh yeah, the Rams.
I think that's basically what it is. We need to be mindful of their linebackers, that front seven, and then of course, I'm gonna love to see
Tell you,
that.
you ain't gonna have to worry about them
I
linebackers.
want to see Buddha versus Kittle. That matchup is fantastic because Buddha gives everything, and so does George. And those two love to clash. And when I see those two go head to head, it's great. But go
is
ahead.
Buda Baker hurt?
He was last week. I
Isn't
don't know.
Buda Baker hurt?
I don't know his status this week.
Okay.
Hey, y'all also
Okay.
got noticed for a very young defense.
Real quick,
though,
let me tell.
Go ahead, Brian. You got it.
Yeah.
Let me tell Corey real quick. Thank you, Corey, for coming. We got a big panel today. Real quick, in
Corey.
2004, you guys remember 2004 was our 2-14 record. Our 2 wins came from the Cardinals. In 2005, we played the Cardinals in Mexico City. They got the crowd pumped because they ran out onto the field with the Mexican flag.
They did.
They won that contest 31-14. Tim Rattay was our quarterback. Then, we recently went down and played them. This time,
Don't say that name again.
we ran out with the flag. So we got the crowd pumped.
Well, here we go, too. Another
Tim Rattay?
caveat. Fred Warner is Mexican. Didn't know that till he put the flag on the back of his helmet. I didn't know that was part of his culture. And the funny thing is, now my wife is Mexican. I can tell you this. With her own eyes, she went down, visited some of her family. We run Mexico. Just so y'all know. It's either us or the Cowboys. That's literally it.
Yeah.
But when we go down there and you see the stadium, that's a home game, baby. I just want to flex on that one. That's a home game.
So
anytime we go.
We briefly touched a little bit about, how we were talking about the Cardinals have beat us so many times in a row. And that was during the Harbaugh era. Well, just as soon as we snap that game streak, they go off from 2015 to 2018 and have 8-game winning streak against us. The Cardinals are not somebody that we need to overlook. The Cardinals are a formidable team, even when we think they are scrubs. They can beat us with their scrubs. So I don't know if it's us going in with the mindset of we're the 49ers and we have 5 championships and who are they? No, they are Card Pit. Okay. And if you guys don't know, look up the history. The league is great, right? They were the Chicago, they were the St. Louis, they were the Phoenix, and now they are the Arizona Cardinals. They move around a lot. They're kind of like the Rams. I don't know what the deal is. We play the nomads of the league or something. I just don't know what it is. Yeah. But we have had some really good games against the Cardinals, and it seems like just as soon as they let Larry Fitzgerald retire, the sky cleared. We could see light. The Niners are now actually able to contend because it was. I don't know about you guys, but every time we played, it was always Larry Fitzgerald right there at the end in the end zone. I'd always hate the last minute of the game because they would always come. It was Kurt Warner. It was oh my gosh, there was so many different quarterbacks that that guy caught a ball from. I'm trying to think of number 3, Carson Palmer. There's so many times that Fitzgerald, all he did was jump up and come back down with the ball. So, is it the Cardinals that's the problem, or is it Larry Fitzgerald? Was it Kurt Warner? Because he had our number there in St. Louis as well. So it definitely, it's like the Cardinals, they've been a franchise for a very long time. It seems like a lot of the players either go there to, I'm not going to say die, but retire. Emmitt Smith, he retired a Cardinal. I don't know if you guys know that, but he's a Cowboy. He should always be a Cowboy, but they didn't want to pay for his.
Why he retired as a Cardinal? Jerry.
Why?
No, why's that?
Jerry. So go back years when Emmitt's time was time. It was time for Emmitt to get paid. Jerry didn't want to pay him.
91 year.
I think they went 1-3 or 1-4, something like that year. When Emmitt was sitting out, he was like, I ain't playing until you give me my money. Michael Irvin went into the office and was like, we need him, Jerry. I don't know what you need to do. I don't know how you need to do it, but get the man in the building. If I got to take a pay cut, I don't care. Get him on this damn field. We are not going to win if we don't have Emmitt. Now, yes, it's always going to be said that Emmett had one of the best O-lines in front of him, blah, blah, blah. You still have to be a damn good player to run for all those yards and
yes.
things that you need to do. So, yes, he did have a great O-line in front of him. He had those nasty, mean, linemen in there. But at the same time, you still got to be great within yourself to be able to do it. So what I can tell you is that is the reason why he retired at Cardinal, because he did not like Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones did not like him. Jerry and him, they those two clashed. That's why he retired at Cardinal. And the funny thing is, when he went to the Cardinals, Cardinal fans, they thought they made a score. They did everything. They was like, we good now. And I looked at everybody. I said, let me explain something to you. Emmett is here to extend his rushing record. He ain't bringing y'all no damn championships. And then Cardinal fans are just, oh no, he's good. We're gonna be great. People, don't believe the hype. Sometimes you got to understand when a player is on the back end of their career and they just it's not the same person. And at the same time, it was the Cardinals. They didn't have a line like that where they could support what he was going to do or what he would have tried to do. So yeah, he retired a Cardinal because of the beef he had with Jerry Jones. Yep.
And that's really sad because he was trying to go for the rushing record. It took him a long time. I mean, if anybody plays forever, right? And Emmitt Smith did truly play forever. Some players can get to success, or get to stats a lot faster than other players. You look at Frank Gore. A lot of people are like, whoa, the guy ran for a long time. He was in the league for forever, right? But Emmitt Smith, I know he wanted the rushing record, and it was sad that he went to the Cardinals to get it. I don't understand why Jerry Jones wouldn't want that to be, underneath his organization, another banner that he can, pump his chest about. So it did come down to money, but I think also Emmitt Smith,
he actually got the record
playing for the
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
He got the record when he was in Dallas.
Okay. And he just added to it.
Yeah, because he wanted to extend it when he went to Arizona. That was the main thing. He wanted to push it out of reach. So that's why he kept playing in Arizona. He knew, I got my 3 rings. I ain't worried about it. I know I'm a Hall of Famer. I ain't tripping. But that extra time in AZ put it further out of reach for, guys like Frank Gore. You know what I mean? So it makes it harder. But, that Frank Gore, that's a legend name around here. We love him.
Man, that's the dude. I call him first ballot Frank. He's going in.
First ballot. But he ain't first ballot. But I will say this. Anyway.
Okay, now hold on, twin. Why? You got to tell me why you don't think Frank first ballot. Why?
I don't believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I believe whoever it is that he's going to go in there with, or the people who hasn't gone in there yet, will be a very big challenge for him. So y'all say first ballot. So when somebody like Patrick Willis is still not in the Hall of Fame, and somebody is like, these other guys that we can name that people would say was the number 1 or number 2 linebacker or top 3
Roger Craig
in their time that they were rushing or playing linebacker, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there was a 3 to 5 year span where anybody would have said that Frank Gore was a top 3 running back. That's not a knock against him. Like, I respect what he's done, but we got to be realistic in how this thing is done and how this thing is looked at and how these votes are made. So that's my thing with Frank Gore. First ballot, no way, because if some of these guys that we're still waiting to get in the Hall of Fame, who people around the league, far as not 49er fans, but my thing is first ballot Hall of Famers are when other people from other teams desire your guy. They want that guy. They say that guy was a beast. You see what I'm saying? And so when we say Frank Gore, there's not many people on any other team said I wanted a Frank Gore or Frank Gore was the baddest man running the ball during his time. That's not going to happen.
All right, let me throw these names at you real quick. LaDainian Tomlinson, Curtis Martin, Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith. You know who's third on that list for all-time rushing?
We're not talking about rushing yards, Pterodon.
Yes,
we're talking about in the time.
You're running back, and you ran the ball, and you put 16,000 yards up. 16,000.
That doesn't mean you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't dismiss. You can't dismiss those yards as a running back in this era. In this
you're not going to get a first ballot for a longevity.
That's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's not. That's like I could say AC Green is a first ballot Hall of Famer like basketball player because he played for 20 years. I could like that's not how it goes.
No,
man.
it ain't. How long you
Like-
played? It's you put up 16,000. Walter Payton has 16,000.
How many all-pros did
Emmitt Smith has
Adrian
18,000.
Peterson have?
respect
LaDainian
your-
Thompson have? How many MVPs did LaDainian Thompson have? AP have? How many times were they were the number one running back in the National Football League? I'll be quiet. You can tell me however many yards he accumulated.
Third
You
all
showed
time
me
in rushing.
when he was the number one, number two, and number three running back during his span.
Third all time rushing.
That ain't all right.
Third
I
all
digress,
time.
though.
All
That don't
time.
mean nothing when it comes to the Hall of Fame vote.
Tony, that means everything
so-
for a running back.
So the
Go
reason.
ahead.
So the reason Frank Gore is not going to be first ballot, he will get into the Hall of Fame. I truly believe that in my heart. But the reason he's not first ballot,
No way.
Roger Craig's not in.
That's
Bowl,
something.
right?
If
You're gonna tell me Roger Craig
if Roger
doesn't
Craig was
deserve
number
it
3
before
all
Frank Gore?
time, he would have been in. I advocate for Roger Craig. I done texted Matt Mayoko. I done been with everybody. He deserved to be in back in about 2014 or whenever he was, should have been in his window to get into the Hall of Fame. But I'm saying as a player, if you saw Curtis Martin go in first ballot, you better daggone well have Frank Gore in first ballot.
Frank Gore was never in the same breath in his times fan as far as when they were at the peak of their career as my favorite Curtis Martin.
So and then you got to look at it too. It's not about stats. It's not about stats. It's not about rings. It's about popularity. And Frank Gore, he was a very quiet guy. Everybody loves Frank Gore, but he's very quiet. So is he going to be the one making the noise, get me into the Hall of Fame? He cares more about getting his jersey retired with the 49ers than going to the Hall of Fame.
He deserves.
He's been on how many different teams? How long did he play? No Super Bowl ring. I mean, it's kind of one of those things.
How many rushing titles?
You look at Roger Craig, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings.
Okay.
I
think he'll get there.
All right, fellas, and now back
ballot.
to our regularly scheduled program.
I'll talk to you.
Hey, we'll see.
Okay.
So the Hall of Fame is a popularity contest.
Very
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see him going.
And Frank Gore, he wasn't flashy. He was a grinder, and I honestly do think he earned the right to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes. Is he a first ballot Hall of Fame? I don't know. That's up to the East Coast bias people. So because of who the voters are, he probably isn't one. Although I do think he should be.
Okay. Now keep going, Dave. You
my bad. Go.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is most of the people that vote for the Hall of Fame have that East Coast bias, and that's the problem. Like, why do you think Roger Craig isn't in?
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Gore, he earned it. He earned his spot in the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
Running backs these days, this day and age, do not last as long as him. They're not putting up the numbers he put up. He was a constant professional. Made the Pro Bowl, did everything but win a Super Bowl. If he had that Super Bowl ring, he probably would be at first ballot, but he doesn't. And the East Coast bias, all those voters, they're not gonna vote him in the first time. The second time for sure, but probably not the first time.
I honestly feel like that when we have like these Hall of Fame type things for any type of sport, I feel like it should be players. I don't feel like it should be sports writers, because the thing is your personal bias is going to come into play. And I think that honestly, you should have a representative from each team that is voting in on these players, because we respect the players respect each other more than these writers will. And if a writer has a bias, I'll give you the perfect example. His name is T.O. T.O., one of the greatest receivers ever graced the NFL field. Ever. Period. You don't believe me? Look at the numbers. And T.O. was a dog. And what Twin was talking about earlier, as far as being that guy, T.O. was that guy. But
Frank
look
was-
at what happened. His popularity wasn't
Yeah.
there. He had.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I've
fight
personally
hard.
met Tio. It was not good interactions.
Yeah,
and
that,
everyone
and,
I've ever that met him, not good interactions.
and I can tell you
he
this.
balled out. I ain't going.
I can tell you this. There are two players in the league right now that have some.
I've also met Steve
some of,
Mariucci.
some of the most ridiculous talent you've ever seen, and it was T.O. and A.B. And both of them have situations that have hindered them from doing what they need to do. The only thing that A.B. has over T.O. is a Super Bowl ring. It's literally all he has. And AB would still be playing if he learned how to keep his mouth shut and get his head together.
But even if AB hadn't played another snap, there was at least 5 years, bro, that we could say he was either one or two. One or two.
Can I say something about T.O.? What kills me is I didn't believe all the bad shit about him. When I met him, he was playing for the Bengals. He had just torn his ACL, gone down for the year, had his surgery. His mama's from around where I grew up, so he was in the area, and I had heard how he had been such a great mentor to AJ Green and Jerome Simpson, who's a CCU alum, the guy that did the front flip, insanely talented, but just, I talked to guys that play with him. They're like, yo, he just can't remember the playbook to save his life. And that's why he didn't last in the NFL. But, and when I went up to T.O., I was, about to say all these wonderful, man, I don't believe all this. I heard you've been such a great mentor. Even though I'm a Ravens fan, you play for the Bengals. I wish you the best. And before I could even get a word out my mouth, bro, he turned on me so quick. I was like, fuck you, dude, and just turned around, walked away. And he picked fights with everyone at the airport that day, basically.
Yeah, and so
he was going through some stuff, probably.
Yeah, so. you can't do that as a guy of that stature because people look at you a certain way, and you got to be better about that. But
I was trying to give him that respect.
Yeah, and it hurts when you meet a guy like that and you get that interaction. But I'm gonna kick it back to BC. Let you take back over, bro. I'm sorry, I went in and came in and brought us all over side notes of everything. We got to get back to this game, baby. Go ahead, BC. You got it.
Yep.
All right. Well, appreciate it. Let's throw it down to Corey real quick. Corey, you've been a little quiet since you came in. We appreciate you.
Hello.
And we've been having a lot of fun.
I know.
So it's the Cardinals. Corey, are you going to be barbecuing? Are you barbecuing Carl this weekend?
No, I'm just gonna be chilling, watching the game. Yes, I said it yesterday that I'm a little nervous about going against Cardinals because I know the Cardinals always play as hard. We always seem like we talk about the Cardinals always all season. Oh, Cardinals ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't this. Then all of a sudden we come play them and we lose to them. I'm like, oh man, how this happen? Like we made what's the name? Colt McCoy. His name McCoy.
Yeah, Colt McCoy. Yeah, he beat the crap out of us in that rain game.
Yeah,
when
we made
Jimmy
him look like he
forget how to play football again.
we made him look like he was like a Joe Montana or something, tearing us up. And I was watching the show earlier. I was gonna come on earlier, but I said I had a doctor's appointment. But one name you mentioned down here, you mentioned Bryant. That was Arizona. He became a 49er. Tim Mandano, safety. He was a good player from Arizona to the 49ers. And he was good on the 49ers. Tim Mandano, safety. He played alongside. Who he played alongside with? Who was this? Was it Hanks? Was it Morton Hanks?
Merton Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah, he played alongside Merton Hanks. So this game, we're gonna face the Cardinals. If we do what we're supposed to do, and like Dion and everybody said, we get up 30 points, we always win. So let's get them 30 points and Beat them Cardinals.
I definitely don't like playing the Cardinals. Just like you said, they always seem to be like, oh, they're not going to do anything. They play us tough. I won't forget, was it 3 interceptions or 4 interceptions Kaepernick threw to the Cardinals on the same side of the field? That's hard to swallow. I won't ever forget Aeneas Williams, hitting Steve Young.
The
That's
great
Yeah.
really hard for me to,
Aeneas Williams.
so I'm not a Cardinal fan. I'm not. They are not fun to play. When the game's over, I'm very happy that we are. It's over. we either won, or I'm not happy that if we lose, of course. But
Hey,
yeah.
BC.
So, Twin, what's your thoughts, bro? What's your thoughts on the Cardinal game?
And just so we know this, the defense of the Arizona Cardinals are a very disciplined team. If you look at their stats, they're like either number 1 or number 2 in just penalties per game, penalty yards per game. And so for a very young team like they have on the defensive end, they keep the change in front of them by not making mistakes. And that's what you need from a young defense, to not get in their own way. So I just give them props, because though they aren't necessarily, they don't have like these big name players on defense just yet, but for early on in the season with a new DC, he has them playing disciplined football. And so that doesn't mean, again, that they're going to beat us or nothing like that, but there's just something we got to be aware of, that they're not going to try to shoot themselves in the foot. Offensively, they kind of not so much. They kind of are.
Hey, here's a question.
What's up?
Mike, I have a little bit of a lag. I'm sorry, guys, but here's my question: I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a lag. Coordinator from the Eagles?
Yes.
Is the Cardinals okay?
Gannon.
Guys, I apologize. My internet's not the best
It's
today,
Gannon.
and it's been a really good show. Yep. It's been a really good show. Go ahead, Corey.
Yes, that's why I think one reason why they say they beat the Cowboys, because the defense coordinator and the coaches, from Eagles, and he played them. He knew how to beat them. And I guess
You good? I think it's just, he got his. Sometimes you got so much bandwidth going on right now on your computer, and so as far as how many individuals can be on there, can it kind of withstand whatever the case may be, as far as all 7 of us on this thing. And my boy, look, my boy Pterodon trying to get them numbers, ain't you, my guy? I can tell. Look, my boy TD doing that work.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I think the Niners can make this an easy game, but they gotta not get in their own heads. Brock Purdy's been playing outstanding, but the key to winning this game, looking at the stat lines, is running the ball. Currently, right now, the Cardinals are somehow allowing 134 yards per game in the rush game, compared, of course, to your 49ers, like 50 yards. So y'all are, of course, both averaging about 200 to 250 yards passing per game. So again, passing defense about the same, but the run defense is just hand the ball off, keep it safe. And y'all mentioned earlier, these linebackers for the Cardinals play with a lot of speed. Kazir White leading the charge there. And I mentioned the names you mentioned earlier are key parts as well. But the big thing is those defensive linemen are getting pushed around at the line of scrimmage. And that's why, again, the rush yards are heavy, but you're seeing great tackles by the linebackers. So again, buy into the run here. Don't try to get fancy with it, and you can blow them out.
They got one particular defensive lineman. He looks like he does pretty good with his hand. It's number 93, Jonathan Ledbetter.
Ledbetter.
He's not a big mover. He's not a slasher. He's not a cutter. He's not going to give you a lot of tackle for losses. But what I see is in that 3 technique. They play what's called Oki. Oki is on the outside shoulder of the tackles. They play a 3-4 base defense. He will stymie your folks and just suck up the design is just to suck up all of the offensive linemen and give those linebackers Dennis Gardnick, number 45, and number 52, Victor Demikage. Let them run sideline to sideline along with Kaiser White. He's pretty active. He uses his hands. He gets his hands dirty. I think he's probably leading the team in tackles. Sometimes going down, they sometimes throw that 2-man hands in the dirt thing that the New York Giants did last week. And, I don't really know about all that, but they have to manufacture a rush sometimes. Blitz and linebackers, they don't have some dogs up front like the Washington Redskins Washington.
We saw that a lot with Wink Martindale, who's now, of course, over there in New York running their defense.
Yes.
When he was in Baltimore, he did the same thing. When we had injuries, you have to generate the rush from somewhere, and you're going to get a lot of linebackers coming up A-gap. And, of course, safeties coming off the outside, especially.
Exactly.
Kyle Hamilton had 3 sacks and a forced fumble last week on the same exact play.
That's what he has. So as
they have another DB there as well. Young man
Clark.
Yes.
Clark, number 13.
He's got 4 passes defensed on the season. He is their leading pass defense guy. As far as that goes. So they have a few different players.
Something y'all mentioned, they keep y'all close every time. Me and Bryant talked about a lot. We expected the Vikings to take a step back this year, even though on paper it didn't make sense. It was a gut feeling. And I was finally able to, of course, actually think of why. No team last year had more close games than the Minnesota Vikings. And while, yes, that's great and clutch, you can win those close games, it's not a replicable model. And we're seeing that right now. But, of course, buyer beware. If you can keep it close, you can win a game. And the head coach of the Cardinals is going to do a good job.
This is why I have said, so if the 49ers know all about close games. We set a record when our head coach first got here for losing the most close games in a season.
We were close with you under one of Harbaugh's seasons.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
We definitely know about that. But, that leads me to my next point. I've been telling y'all Kirk Cousins ain't winning nothing.
I know.
Everybody listen to me.
Especially after 4 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. Down on me. Kirk is actually really good. I don't know what you're looking at. You're stupid. You don't know football. I've heard it all. But what I keep reminding folks is at the end of the day, it is about that Lombardi. And I am sorry, Kirk Cousins will never hoist one. That man will be known for being a 5th-round pick that came out and made it happen and got paid. Because if you think about it, no other quarterback in this league would have been as comfortable as Kirk Cousins was with being franchise tagged. If you remember when he was franchise tagged twice while he was over there in Washington, he never complained. He didn't trip out. His agent wasn't coming out in the media saying, no, I need a long. He didn't care.
You like that?
Kirk Cousins came in there, played football, made sure his numbers looked right, and went on to Minnesota to get paid. Like, this is what I'm trying to tell people. Like, there are people in the league that are solely there because they have the talent, but they just don't have that it factor. And Kirk Cousins does not have that it factor, which is why he will never win a Super Bowl. And he hasn't won one to this point. So anybody that bets against me on that, by all means, I'm taking that bet because he's not going to. I'm sorry. The team around him is not structured for him to win. Why would you let Dalvin Cook walk? And now you got Madison over there looking like hot garbage. You see what I'm saying? They let AP walk, and they thought Jerick McKinnon was going to be great. And we all see what happened. He didn't look anywhere near good until he got to Minnesota. Because he sat with us on the bench for years and years. Ungrateful, you know what? Lined his pockets. The man had the nerve to say what he said on Instagram. But the Cardinals consistently give us a hard game. I expect this to be hard fought. I expect us to go out there and hit each other, punch each other in the mouth. But I can tell you this, at the end of the day, I expect us to land that Mike Tyson blow to the body that makes you quit. And we will. We will. Brock Purdy has done exactly what he's needed to do. And one thing that I will say is, I look at Brock as a top 15 quarterback. I'm not going to give him top 10 yet. I know a lot of people feel like he should be thrown into that conversation. You need way more of a body of work before somebody can put you into the talk with certain people. And all I'm saying is, let's give it a little more time. I'm not saying I don't believe in Brock. I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm saying give him more time. Let the man develop. Let him play. Let him do what he's supposed to be doing. Let this be a continual thing. I can tell you this. If Brock gets us to 8-0, 9-0, it's a wrap, because we should be headed right back to the Super Bowl. That's going to make me reminiscent of 2019. The only difference that I want is I just don't want my head coach to get comfortable again. Please don't do that to me and break my heart. Okay? Don't get comfortable again. You've been going for it on fourth down, and you've been doing things a little differently, and we've seen a few different wrinkles. Hey, man, let's make it happen. And I've also heard good things that Brock has been working on his deep ball. I heard that after practice, that's all he does is work on throwing the deep ball. Now, can he hit those plays? Let's hope he can. I want him to. What people have to understand is, like, a lot of people were always I got ripped on Twitter because I said that I didn't feel that John and Kyle needed that extension right now. I said that I felt like, hey, once you bring me a Super Bowl, then we can start talking extension. I gave you one already, because when they got to the Super Bowl, Jet extended them. So they have several years left on this deal. So for me, I was saying, simply put, bring me a Super Bowl, then we can talk about an extension. But until then, I have to start thinking about things. And I know everybody's like, well, who you going to replace him with? And why you hating and all that? It's not about hating. It's about looking. And I keep telling people, people get enamored with the last couple of years. You're not looking at the whole body of work. Look at it as all-encompassing. When you get a promotion at your job, at your actual place of work, do they look at what you've done for the last 6 months, or are they looking at a body of work? They are looking at a body of work, because that company is saying, if I'm going to give you more money, if I'm going to promote you, or I'm going to let you move to another position, I need to know that you were great at what you did. So when you go elsewhere, you'll be great there too. I am holding Kyle and John to that same standard and saying, I appreciate the consistency of being competitive. At the end of the day, I don't care. Get me a ring.
I have a question.
Dang, Brian, your internet is killing me, bro. Because I know you got some good stuff to say, man. Damn it.
I have a question. With Mitchell's out now, do you think we're gonna bring in Jordan Mason?
Mitchell out?
Mitchell hurt again.
Oh Lord, come on, man. He ain't even played enough.
You can't make the club in the tub.
I'm done. You know what? Elijah Mitchell, I love you, but no, goodbye. I'm done. I'm tired of it. If you get a trade offer for him, take it and ship him out of here. I'm tired. I'm tired of watching somebody with all that talent.
I was telling them over the summer.
Got glass for knees. I'm done. I am done. I treat you like Jalen Hurd. You just know all that talent. No, get on. Go on. My bad. Go on, finish your point, Corey. I'm sorry. That just set me off because I'm so tired of watching them. You ain't even barely played. Come on now, bro.
With Mitchell's out, do you think CMC is going with Kyle Shanahan going to do like he with the Rams, have CMC running the ball, or is he going to give Jordan Mason a chance? Putting him in there.
I would think Jordan Mason would pick up a little bit more. I would conventional wisdom says Jordan Mason should get more carries, but I think some of it's Kyle and some of it is CMC himself. It's some running backs that got to get into a lather. And I think CMC likes to get 20 and 22 carries, and he feels like he can do it. I know it's some trepidation in terms of the fan base. We're like, don't wreck my car. It's good. Don't use it so much. Don't do this to the Ferrari. But in that guy's mind, man, he's like Tommy Egan on power. He wants to get out there and get it. And Kyle says, I got plenty of work for you. But I love Jordan Mason. I've been a Jordan Mason man since I seen him in preseason 2 years ago.
But
I would think that if you're
man,
smart,
when you got Super Bowl
put Mason
aspirations,
in.
though, you got to realize that sometimes you got to protect people from themselves. And again, we're not a team just trying to sit here and make a little short run. We have the team and the ability and the roster to make sure that we can make it to the Super Bowl. I like to tell people sometimes your best predictor of future events is if you look at what happened in the past. Every year we've had injuries in our running back. Every year we've had another leading rusher in the running back. Same thing with our quarterback situation. Every year we've had multiple quarterbacks to get hurt. So what we have to do is not get in our own way. So at the same time, I enjoy Kyle Shanahan's ability to be smart and to create these plays, but at the same time, you got to realize that you need to control yourself far as what it is that CMC workload needs to be. And the same thing far as even Brock Purdy, far as putting himself in danger. You got to protect some people from themselves, because at the end of the day, when we got to go here and play against these upper echelon teams with some physical running backs, some physical offensive line or physical defensive linemen and physical hitters, you need to be able to have your body shouldn't be worn down and tore down. You at least to have some type of thread left on the tires to be able to finish the mission, especially when we know that December football, January football is won not only in the trenches, but also on the running game. So I don't mind Kyle wanting to run the ball, but at the same time, we got to be judicious in how we want to do it. This is why you have the depth that you do have. We already should have known that Elijah Mitchell maybe not would have been healthy. So this is why we have a TDP. This is why you have a Jordan Mason. You want to make sure you don't get all these carries early on in the season and have enough in the back end to continue to keep this going. We got enough talent around us as far as the skill positions to make sure that you can divvy out these plays to other players and they can be able to pick up the workload to make sure nobody's carrying on everything on their own.
I'm going to ask Darwin to expound on his comment that he made. What do you mean steps per second? Talk to me on that.
So Sports Science did a segment on Christian McCaffrey, I believe when he was coming out in the draft. So steps per second, if you watch Christian McCaffrey, you might look like, man, his feet just look like they are so fast. It's something, because y'all know Christian McCaffrey. You know the lineage of his parents. You know, the way he has been taught to run. We teach people all the time, when you want acceleration, what do? You gotta get them feet chopping. You gotta pick up what is known as your steps per second, short strides. You short stride into your long stride. And Christian McCaffrey's short stride is so quick. That quick burst not only gives him acceleration, but gives him unreal change of direction ability, which is, and again, as a high volume carrier like he is, why would you not? Because with that change of direction and ability, if you get good blocking and get to the second level and you just got to make one or two man miss, and your change of direction is top 2 percentile probably in the league, just like Zay Flowers is now for us. I'm going to ask the coach for 20 plus carries every game too. But he was unreal, and no one in the league was doing it like him when he first came in, and that's what got him a lot of money.
And the funny thing is that now, of course, with the times, and we have Sports Science and things of that nature. I knew about steps per second in a different manner because I ran track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that's where he learned.
I would have to run track against guys who were taller than me. So what our coach would teach us is stride lengths, steps, all of that. Because people that would be taller than me would still not be able to beat me, and it would blow their mind. I remember I had a meet. We were running 100, and this guy walked up, and he was 6 foot flat.
Yep.
But he's one of the people. He's all legs.
I'm like
you ever seen a woman and you see her, she tall, but it's just all legs mainly. That's just the length of her body. That's what it is. So this guy walked up and he stood next to me, and he looks and he goes, I literally heard him say, this is gonna be an easy win. This dude's short. And I said nothing. And I usually talk. Don't get me wrong. I just look. I was the Dennis Rodman in the track. I talked all kinds of trash. Okay. I look. Terry don't. He's like, yeah, I think that much. But
yeah, I can believe it.
When he lost, it blew his mind. He was like, how? And he came to me. He said, how did you beat me? I said, because for every long stride you're taking, I've already taken 10, 15 steps. And I'm moving at a faster rate than you are. That long stride length you have is great. You cover more ground. But the issue is, while your leg is coming and you are pressing down into the ground to push off and bring your other leg forward, it's literally like this.
Basically, your top speeds are essentially almost the same, but you're hitting your top speed at such a higher rate
I get
that he never has the ability. As long as you don't run out of steam completely, there's no ability for him to truly make up that difference unless he is elite level top speed, which
and that was what it was. I was a great starter.
See, I never had a short.
If I caught you slipping off the line, you could kiss it goodbye. You were done. Don't come in there and be a slow starter.
Surprisingly, Marshawn Lynch. I was listening to him one day on somewhere, and he was talking about how his college coach, he used to just run instinctually, and then he got a college coach that taught him, no, there are techniques to running, different strides for your running back, and depending on the run, the scheme, and everything else. And I didn't know about that. And I'm telling you, when I used to play a little bit of tight end wide receiver, I used to mess with people because I used to do this weird stride that messed people, a long stride where I was almost bouncing. But it threw everyone's timing off, and I had such long legs. It looked like I was going so slow, but with every step, I was covering more than 5 yards per step almost. And then I'd get even with the safety, and he's doing this weird long stride. He's even with me, and you know what they say: if he's even, he's leaving. And then I would pick a short step in there, basically. Put my head down for 3 seconds and go, and I'd burn people, and they'd be literally like, watch him. He's gonna go deep, and they would warn the safety. They'd tell him, and they just wouldn't respect me.
Look at our previous quarterback, Colin Kaepernick. He looked like he was galloping down the field. That man's strides were long.
His strides
were long, but he had the speed to get away from you. And you have to think about it. The only person catching Colin Kaepernick is going to be a safety or a DB. It ain't going to be a linebacker, damn sure ain't a defensive lineman.
Usually,
so if you're not a safety or defensive back who has the natural speed to be able to keep up with somebody like that, you're not going to catch him. So with CMC having that, he's always hitting, and Bebop put it right there, he's always hitting about 20 miles an hour at a minimum. Every single time, if you get him out in space, he's there. He's not going to be 20 plus. He's not going to be your Raheem. He's not going to be your Tyreek with the 22 and 23 and all that other stuff. You're not going to catch that. But he's going to give you just enough to be able to do it right. Because that touchdown run that he had with the great blocking from Ayuk and the great blocking from Ray McLeod, that was the perfect patience. He's like, if I go too, because what happens is people don't realize when you're playing football, if you go too fast, you don't let your blockers set up right. If your blockers set up properly, you can hit a home run, but you have to let them get where they need to be before you get there. Because if you get there before they get there, chances are you're going down. Why? Because that tackler is free and there's nobody to take care of them. But in this game, I do believe
your tackle can't see you. The defensive end can see you and the tackle.
Exactly. If in this game, if we do what we need to, give CMC his 20 to 22 carries, but still bring in Jordan Mason. Relegate TDB to special teams. Tell him, hey, look, you're active. Get out there and make a play. But if you mix it up just enough, Mason doesn't get hurt like Elijah Mitchell. So you give CMC enough time to relax. You give him enough time to catch his breath, and then you put him back on the field. If that rotation is proper enough, where Jordan Mason gets anywhere from 5 to 10 carries in the game, then we'll be able to make it continue to work. I know they hold on to Elijah Mitchell, but I can tell you right now, he gone after this season. And I know
give y'all something that's a little frustrating to me. I recently looked at the XFL roster of the Orlando team because I live here in Florida. I am taller and heavier, even right now, not even my playing weight, than every tight end on their roster.
Damn.
Like, their tight ends, 6'2", 215, 30 years old. 6'2", 219, 26 years old. Like, bro, my playing weight 6'3", like 230 to 250. Like, when I played semi-pro, I walked on not even in the weight room, and I ran a 4.7. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, your boys thinking about going and playing in the XFL. I don't care. Take 10 years off my life if I can make that money for just like 3 to 5
with
years.
that guy. With that show, great show. Oh boy. We got to wait for the swirls to stop. So if you guys have ever experienced that, you know, and knowing's half the battle. We've had a great show. Everybody, I appreciate you for coming on. We try to do this every Saturday. Sunday, we do a little different, but we still have a great panel as well. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to put the description, the link for everybody here, so you can come back and check us out. Everyone here, you know, there's a great community, and we really do appreciate you guys coming through. Levi, I'm sorry we didn't get to your breakdown as much, but if you haven't noticed, my internet's not the healthiest today. We would love to have you come back next week, and we'll talk it all up again. Guys, remember, it's the Cardinals. Eat some chicken tomorrow, you know, spicy chicken, barbecue chicken, whatever you want to do. But we'll be back. So tune in tomorrow if you got time, and make sure you hit the like, subscribe. 4 away from 200. So if you can tell somebody about my channel, help me out. I'm trying to get to 200. I appreciate it. 4 away, everyone. And with that, go Niners, stay faithful, and we will see you again real soon. We're out.
Go Niners.